Good morning, everybody. We've got about 10 minutes left before things get started, but I saw some folks in the lobby and just wanted to let you in. And hopefully nobody else is caught in the weather. So we'll start around 9 o'clock. And we'll just wait for the folks to keep on coming. We're glad you joined us this morning. I am muted. There we go. All right. Good morning. A few more people have joined us. I've seen we've got about 5 more minutes. We might not start right at 9 because I think some folks might be stuck in traffic. Traffic's a little slow. because of the weather this morning. But we've got about 5 more minutes. So hold on, folks. We're glad to see you all this morning, and we'll get started pretty soon.
He had finished up his homework packet. Remember, Danny picked him up, so he finished his homework, and Danny told him to go up.
All right, it looks like we still have another minute or so. It looks like all three of our presenters have made it through the snow and made it to City Hall this morning. Um, Again, we've got another minute or so, and then we'll go ahead and get started. We've got a lot of people joining right now, too.
Go in the other one, Aish. Good morning. Good morning. Okay.
Okay, well, I think we'll give it another minute or so because we've got a lot of folks joining right now. Please make sure you mute when you jump on.
Okay.
Okay, 9:03. What do we think, presenters? Are we ready to get started? Can everybody see my screen? Okay, Director Crow, are you there? Are we ready to get things moving?
Yeah, good morning. I apologize for not having my camera on just yet. Um, it is a heck of a snowy day out here. Um, Good morning, everyone. My name is Liz Crow. I am the city's Director of Urban Analytics and Innovation. For those of you I have not gotten the privilege of meeting yet, it's wonderful to meet you. And I'm excited to facilitate today's webinar. We are going to be talking about how we submit a lead-safe certification application via the Citizen Access Portal. Today's conversation is going to be heavily focused on the technology itself. We know many of you have questions about the details of what goes in the certification. We may get to some of those today, but we may ask that we hold those until our next webinar so that we are pretty heavily focused on just how we use the Citizen Access Portal to make sure you're ready and you know how to do that. So Vicki, can you go to the next slide, please? All right, we've got 3 presenters here today. So I introduce myself, Director Martin O'Toole. Do you want to go next to introduce yourself, and then Emily?
Sure. Sally Martin O'Toole, Director of Building and Housing. And as always, so good to see all of you here. We're thrilled with the turnout. We're also very excited to make sure that we're utilizing the Citizens Access Portal fully, because this allows us to have our data public facing and open, and that's the goal. So we were getting data in multiple ways, which was creating backlogs and delays. We got a very large uptick in applications in Q4. Many of them were coming in through email, so we believe this is the way to go. And this purpose of today is just to talk you through how to use the portal, give you all the information you need, and answer any questions you have about using the portal. And obviously, so glad that you're part of this very important work of making kids lead safe. And I also want to introduce my colleague, Emily Collins, and have her introduce herself as well.
Thank you, Director. Welcome, everyone. We're really excited to be able to shepherd in this new submission portal. If you're joining, make sure that you mute. There are a lot of people on this call. My name is Emily Collins. I am Senior Advisor to Mayor Bibb, and I think the Director summarized our purpose here perfectly. We're going to turn it over to Director Crow to make sure that we can walk you through this portal effectively.
All right, so to go through our agenda for today's meeting, first we're going to talk about the lead safe certification itself. Just a quick overview so we all are baselined and on the same page. We're going to talk about what is the change that we're making specifically related to the Citizen Access Portal. Why are we making this change? What if I need help? Where do I go? And then we're going to do a video demo. The video is about 10 minutes, so bear with us, and we will post this video and on YouTube. We will post it on our website. We will share it with you via email afterward. We'll send you all the links. So we're going to go through it today, but this is not the last time you will have this. You will have access to the video. We're going to talk about some key dates, and then we'll open it up for questions after that. I know a few of you have already submitted questions via email as well. And so we have those, and we're ready to answer those questions. So without further ado, let's jump in. All right, so the change that we are making is beginning January 24th, 2025, a week from Friday. All lead safe certification applications must be submitted via the Citizen Access Portal. The last day the city will accept applications via email is January 24th. So that Friday is our last email day. And our ask is that you please try the portal before January 24th so that you aren't stuck on, come back in that next Monday and you aren't totally stuck trying to figure out how to do it. We're here to answer your questions along the way. This specifically applies to landlords who are seeking lead safe certification applications on properties built before 1978 that are not owner occupied. So our rental properties built before 1978 that need lead safe certification to get your rental registration. Next slide, please. Again, just to say it again, this is for properties built before 1978, must obtain a lead safe certification on an exemption. And these are not required for owner occupied properties. There are two levels for how to be certified. You can get a 2-year or a 20-year. Emily or Sally, do you want to jump in and comment a little bit on the difference between the 2-year and the 20-year certification?
Happy to. Go ahead, Sally, if you wanted to jump in.
The 2-year certification, as it sounds, is a 2-year lead safe certification where, the property has a lead risk assessment. There, are no findings, or the findings have been cured, and now you have a 2-year certification. A 20-year certification is a more comprehensive exam. It requires a LIRA, a lead risk assessment, that involves a paint inspection. And if there are no hazards found, no lead paint found, so the property is completely abated of lead paint, provides a 20-year exemption to the need to get additional certification.
Thank you. Okay, so we are making this change specifically to ask you to submit applications via the Citizen Access Portal for 2 reasons. Number one is process improvement on the city side. We get a lot of emails and we are having to then type all that information into Acela. We get to make some errors. And so we want to make sure our processes are smoother internally. And then also for you all, We want to make sure your submission process is smoother and we're able to begin turning around these applications more efficiently. So we are asking all landlords to start submitting, or all landlords and all inspectors to start submitting their applications via the portal. The last day we'll accept emails is January 24th. Next slide, please. All right, so I guess why are we making this change? It's easier for us. Email is creating a backlog of data entry, it's delaying our processes, and it's easier for you. So you can go into the portal, you can type it in, you can check your status. Everything is going to be landed in one location. A few resources that we're putting out there for you at this time. So today's webinar is recorded and we will share the link. We have a video tutorial that we're going to play now. We will also provide a PDF with step-by-step instructions. If you have questions about how to use the portal, you can email us. So our goal is to stop accepting applications via the portal, but we're still here to answer questions via email. You can call us during regular business hours, and we are working now on a new City of Cleveland website so that we are compiling all this information in a much easier way to find it. All right, next slide. So next we're going to play our video demo. Hopefully it's pretty good pacing, and do know, as I said, we're going to share this back with you. I think we're getting a couple of comments that the audio isn't working on this one. There is narrative over the video. All right, pardon our dust while we troubleshoot the audio. Thank you, guys. I am not sure why we can't hear the audio. Does anybody have any ideas how I can hear it in my earbuds? Let me try from YouTube and see. Yeah, maybe it might be my team settings, but let's try. Can you hear audio now? No. Okay, I'm not sure what to do, guys. Anybody? Director Crow, do you have any suggestions? Maybe connected in my headphones only. Ah, here we go. I think, yes, I think that just did it. Let me flip back here. Can you hear now?
Maybe Liz can just walk us through the slides.
Yeah. You can start at the beginning. Okay, so, and Vicki, I might ask you to help walk us through the content here, because you've listened to this video 48 times. All right.
Apologize for all of the audio issues here.
Submissions to the LeadSafe program faster and easier.
Now we got it.
We will begin by
That's
signing
it,
in.
Vicki. Don't touch
If
anything.
you haven't created an account, you can do so using the Create Account button here. As we already have an account, we will be signing in. We'll bring up our general disclaimer. Please read the disclaimer. Check the box saying that you have read it and continue the application. This brings up the record type that you need to select. Remember, for this, we're doing the LeadSafe certificate. So you check the little bubble and once again, continue the application. This will bring you to the basic information step 1. We have found the easiest way to input this basic information is by the parcel number. So I will start by entering our parcel number and clicking search. So select the most correct address. Please click the Continue Application button. You have 2 options: select from account or add a new one. For the responsible party, we will be selecting from account. As you can see, you are allowed to use the associated owner, and that will fill in the information automatically for you. Please note that contact phones and emails are required, as that is how we will contact you about your certification if there is an issue, or to email your certification once we're done. Once you have filled everything in, please click the blue Continue button at the bottom. You can see that it is all entered. We are, in this instance, the owner of the property, so we will choose that from the drop-down menu. In this case, we are not going to have a manager, but we will add the property owner as new. Fill in the required information. And if you will notice, the email is once again required. Review what you've input and click Continue Application. And we are prompted to enter a rental registration number. Please type in your rental registration number. Please type in the year billed, number of units are on the property. If any units are exempted, the only units that are exempted are owner occupied and properties built after 78. Type in the number of units tested. And from there, we are brought to the inspection type drop-down menu. We are choosing risk assessment as that is going to be the most common type to submit. You need to enter the risk assessment performance date. You can do so manually or use the calendar function. For this, we will say it was done on Sunday, December 1st. You need to enter the time that the risk assessment was performed. We will say this one was performed at 5 p.m. This is the risk assessment findings. Were there active lead hazards or were no active lead hazards found? For this, we will say there are no active lead hazards found. All inspectors have a license number. They should provide that to you on the report. Enter the license number that you were provided. The laboratory, we have a list of very common laboratories, or you can enter other and type in the laboratory and the EPA approval number. The last question here is, was the property cleaned or remediated in preparation for? If it was, you select yes, and the boxes provided will allow you to name the contractor and enter their EPA firm number or their certificate number. Once you have entered all of the information, you will be brought to the Inspector Information tab, where you will add the contact information for your inspector. Click Add New and import their name, and contact information. Please give us their email address so they can also get copies of any communications we send for the property. Once you have verified everything is correct, please select Continue. If the contact is added successfully, please click Continue Application. This brings you to the attachment phase. This is where you will be uploading copies of your report and any other supporting documentation. You will click the Add button. The upload size is 500 megabytes. If your file is larger than 500 megabytes, please break it down into smaller PDFs, and each PDF would need uploaded. Each individual file has to be under 500 megabytes. From here, you locate your documents. And once it's uploaded completely, you may hit Continue. That brings you here, where you will select the type of document. For us, we submitted a report. You can also submit exemption affidavits and supporting documents. Describe what you've submitted, which we just type in report. And then the most important step here is to click Save to load those to the document or the file. Please note, you will not be able to delete any uploads. However, you can reach out to the City of Cleveland and we will be able to delete them if you've accidentally uploaded something. You may upload as many different documents as needed. Once all the documents you need are uploaded, continue your application. This brings you to the review stage. Verify that all of the information you've added is correct and make use of the edit buttons if anything is wrong. If everything is correct, please hit Continue Application. This will bring you to the confirmation page. Please make note of the address of the property you submitted and the associated LSC number. This is a way for you to be able to track your property and to download your certificate off our portal. This concludes submitting for a risk assessment. Thank you.
All right. After we got the audio going, hopefully a pretty thorough introduction for those of you who haven't done this process before, or reminders for those of you who have done the submittal process before. At this point in time, we're gonna open up the floor for questions. I saw several questions coming in the chat. If you have access to the chat, feel free to put your questions there and I can call them out. Or I am okay if we if you unmute yourself, but let's make sure we go one at a time because we've got a bunch of people on this call. All right, I just saw the question from Kimberly. Does the city have staff who can help seniors or those who don't have internet access? Long and short is yes, but Sally, do you want to talk about this a little bit?
Yes, absolutely, will help you. We also may be able to provide some additional help at public libraries near you. We have had a great collaboration with the Department of Community Development, and they have people assigned to different geographies. So we certainly will be sharing some information about that coming up for those who really have trouble navigating the online system. But by and large, the feedback we've received has been very favorable about the online system, that it's fairly easy to use. So we also have a 1 to 3 family unit in our lead department that is always available to be helpful to anybody who needs help navigating the program. The lead team has been wonderful about that.
Carla has a question about how do we get rental registration numbers?
Well, Carly, your client who has the rental registration could easily give it to you, but you can also access it on the ACA as well. And I would also ask our lead team to feel free to unmute to answer any questions as well, because I know they are also here and they've been fielding these types of questions for a long time.
Yeah, I can jump in on this one. You have to submit the rental registration first. But then you can go back into the Citizen Action portal and do a search for that rental registration number. You don't need to be logged in. We are in the process of making a tutorial similar to this video that we just showed on how to search for rental registration, lead safe certification, and all of the different things that are in the portal. And if anybody wants to expand on that, feel free.
We have a question about the portal specifically, and the question is, do we need to fill out the application still? And I think the answer is the application is what you will upload with the report. And I just want to confirm with our lead team that that's correct. And if anybody wants to expand on that.
That is correct, but the existing application needs to be amended to include email addresses for property owners as well as inspectors or contractors, so that they're getting the notification that they need.
And we have a question about looking through our questions. We have a question specifically about the laboratory certification. It should be, one of our inspectors says, the AIHA-ELLAP, and pardon my pronunciation if I've got the acronym wrong, not an EPA number. Can anybody clarify exactly which numbers that we're looking for when we upload them?
It needs to be the ODH number assigned to the lab.
And a question about attachments. The question is, do we, can the report, photos, etc., all be uploaded separately, or do we have to put them all in one document to upload?
With the 500 megabytes, a full report should be able to be submitted to include pictures, but we're not opposed to submitting photographs separately, as well as other documents if the report really becomes large.
All right, there's some concerns that some of our properties won't have rental registration numbers. And we're working now on guidance to make sure that we get those properties. We give you better guidance on how to register your rental property. And then, as Vicki said, how to search for those rental properties. Question from Dale, when and who submits payment for registration? Can our lead team talk a little bit about that?
I can answer the question.
Okay.
Who
Great.
submits payment for rental registration is the landlord. So the landlord, and sometimes the landlord's property manager or local agent in charge will register and pay the fees, but in no world would it be a lead worker typically.
And another question related to rental registration. What if, a couple questions of what if there's no rental registration number? So a lot of these owners are doing the lead certification in order to get the rental registration number. So we have a little bit of a chicken or an egg problem going. What is the recommended process in terms of starting your rental registration, then going over to lead, and then making sure that rental registration gets fully completed on the back end? Can the team talk about how this should work?
Yes. Yes, the rental registration process can be done without completing all of the requirements necessary to get a certificate approving rental occupancy. So in other words, you can go in, enter your information, pay your fee, get a receipt and a rental registration number, which can then be used to do the lead safe. So you don't need to complete it, and there is no chicken and an egg issue here. You can easily get your rental registration number without having your lead certification, but once you have your lead certification and the other documents you need, you can obtain a certificate approving rental occupancy.
All right, we have a question about what if a property is exempt because it's owner occupied. It appears the system is prompting the exemption for the one unit that the owner is occupied and asking how many units within the property it is exempt. Is it relevant if the entire property is exempt? Can someone clarify the exemptions around ownership of if it's a fully owner occupied property versus one unit in the property is owner occupied, maybe one or two more are rented?
So if it's a fully owner occupied property, we would not be requiring the lead safe certification. If the landlord is occupying, say, a 1 to 3 family property, they're living in one of the units, that unit is exempted, but the other units would be required to have the lead safe certification.
Just a confirming question, specifically around things like rental registration. We want to make sure that the owner started the process before they accept a job. Trevor, I think we don't want to dictate how you kind of do your work, but we do want to make it, in terms of the owner does need to start the rental registration process through the system in order for you to get all the way through the lead safe certification. Team, any clarification there on just, making sure we've got the right information in the system? We will add a video here shortly about how to search, so you can double check about the rental registration numbers yourself.
The rental registration is the start. It's the start to the process. So when you have, because think again that, no other properties are subject to this law. They do not have to get a rental, lead safe certificate unless they are a rental property. So that's where the process begins. So they register the rental property, they get the RR number. That allows you to be able to upload the lead certificate information. And so it's really the first step in the process. So if the landlord has contacted you before registering their property, you need to advise them that they need to register it so that you can complete your process.
And if landlords have questions, what is the best number for them to call?
I think that it depends on what the question is. Is it about registering your rental property, or is the question more about the lead safe certification and the pacing of registering your rental property? Because the lead team is certainly available to speak to really about either. And Karen, do you want to explain the best way for them to get a hold of you and how that can work?
Oh, I didn't know it was on. Yeah, the number that the lead free number that you had up on one of the slides before, that number actually right now directly goes to me. But my other extension phone number is 216-664-4370. But really make sure if they have a question on rental registration, it'd be so much easier for us if they call the rental registration office, because a lot of times there are unique questions that we can't even answer. But if it is about the lead safe certificate, uploading it, any questions about the report, we can definitely answer that.
It sounds like I'm watching the questions come through this chat. It sounds like there's a bit of a misconception that you and for where it is, the landlords are being told they can't get a rental registration without a lead safe certificate. So I just want to come back here and kind of talk about kind of that misconception that's out there, to make sure that we're clarifying the rumors here a little bit. Can we
Sure.
just touch on this one more time?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think it would also be helpful to refer people to the website, especially to look at the page that for residents first. Okay, because this is where I think these misconceptions are coming from. So it is true that in order to get a certificate approving rental occupancy, so to check all the boxes and get the perfect rental registration, you do need your lead safe certification. But you can get your rental registration number by doing a basic registration of your information and paying your fee. So you'll get your number, and then that will enable you to be able to upload your lead safe certification because you'll have your rental registration number. Now, is that a fully approved rental registration application at that point? No, it's partial, but that's fine. You have to start somewhere, and obviously people need to get their lead safe, and we understand that. So we're working with people to bring that along. So that is a misnomer, and I think it's pretty clearly stated on the website. So just to answer the prior question too, there are there's several ways to get a hold of the folks in rental registration. One is bhrental@clevelandohio.gov, and the other is their main phone number, which is 216-664-2827. Yeah, so Brandon had made a comment in the chat. Okay, so a number isn't a registration certificate. That's true. It is a rental registration number, but you're not going to get a certificate approving rental occupancy until you have uploaded your lead safe application and a number of other things depending on the building size. So if you look at the Residents First splash page on the city's website, you're going to see what all of those requirements are, and there are a number of them. So for instance, if a landlord is out of town, they're going to have a local agent in charge and provide a local agent in charge affidavit. So there's about 4 or 5 requirements over and above just registering your rental at this point that are required to be in good standing with the city. But you will get a rental registration number without being in good standing with the city as a first step in the process of becoming there. So thank you for asking these clarifying questions, because I think that's probably helped a lot of people on this call.
I know that we want to make sure we talk enough through the rental registration process. It sounds like we might need a next webinar at some point, date to be determined, on rental registration, just to make sure we're clarifying how to use the tool and the process. And as I said earlier, we will be launching here in the next few weeks a new lead website that will hopefully provide just a better resource site for you all, because we realize that what we have specifically related to lead on the website isn't quite what we needed. And so we needed to build that out. Couple of questions in the chat about how to get access to things like videos. We will do a few things following up on this call because you all registered via email. We will email all of you the link to the YouTube video, as well as a PDF with instructions. We will post this on our website when our new website launches here in shortly. And we will also post the recording to this webinar so you can go back. All of your questions are really helpful in this conversation because it's going to help us build out better FAQs for you so that, you know, the next person will come along with a similar set of questions. And as you continue to have suggestions on just what would be helpful for us to clarify, that is what we are working on right now. I see a couple of questions popping up here in the chat. If the landlord does not have an email address, we put our email in place. Lead team, are we okay with that? Landlord doesn't have an email address?
Yeah, that's fine. And the inspector will then forward that to any interested
Great.
parties.
And then is there a document that outlines all the affidavits and documents the landlord must submit to receive the approved rental registration certificate? We are working on that now to make sure, yes, we will get that out here very shortly because we
I just
realize
put
how
it-
helpful that would be.
Yeah, I just
Great.
put that in the chat for you.
Great.
So you should have access to that now. But bear in mind too, there's going to be some significant enhancements to the website coming very shortly. So keep an eye out on the website.
Yeah. There was, I think our last question that we'll in our webinar is the portal up and working now? Yes, the portal is up and working now. Our ask from this webinar is please try the portal. We know that many of you are going to bumble and fumble a little bit. I always do when I go into new portals to try. And our ask is with these resources, try the portal, email us or call us with your questions. We're going to do our best to get back to everybody as efficiently as we can, give everyone calls back, be checking our voicemail pretty aggressively to make sure that you're able to do that. Yes, we will get the link to the portal here. Oh, there we go. Vicky sent out the link to the portal. Yeah, Tony says, can we do a test upload and mark it a test? Lead team, are you okay with that?
Yeah, that would be fine.
You can also go through the entire process, Tony, and not submit. When you go, you can get all the way to that review stage and then just leave it. And that way it doesn't, you're going through it, but you're just not submitting, if that makes sense.
All right. Why don't we pick back up our key dates? Just so we have them, just as a reminder. Vicki, if you can pull the slide back up with key dates. So today is our webinar where we're talking through, we're going to get to all those resources after the webinar today. And then the last day we're going to accept applications via email is January 24th. So about just over a week away. And it's applications after that date, we're going to reply to that email very politely and say, thank you so much. Let's put them in the portal. And then we're here to help you do that. So Emily or Sally, any closing comments from the conversation today?
I would say, we're here to help. So if you have any difficulty navigating anything, please reach out to the team. We're absolutely going to jump in and do everything we can to help you. It's a collaborative effort, but we believe this is going to go a long way to creating clearer data that we can put on our open data portal and cut down the time it's taking us to review these applications. So I know many of you are waiting on applications to be reviewed. We are working through that backlog. We did get inundated, And this just simplifies everything if we get everything on the portal. So we are grateful for your collaboration in this. We're in it together. We're absolutely here to help. So thank you.
And Emily, any closing comments from you? Thanks, Sally.
I would just say that I think this is, the launch stage, and this is a partnership with you all. We want to make this work. So while we want your feedback, please make sure that you're patient with us as we get to the point where we're, operating flawlessly in this new program. So thank you all.
And be on the lookout for an email after this. We will resend contact information, who to reach out to, links to videos, PDF tutorials, and then be on the lookout for our updated website as well, so that we, where we will start compiling all these resources. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for your questions. And we will make sure we send out the reminders on exactly how to get in touch with us. All right. Thank you all for attending.